Hey everybody, welcome to Mammoth Interactive's YouTube channel. First of all, I want to thank you for watching this video. And remember that this channel doesn't do Patreon. Instead, we sell our digital courses down below. And every single dollar that we get from the products you buy below goes into making more content. The best way to help out this channel and Mammoth Interactive is to subscribe to Mammoth Interactive's huge library of content. Get thousands of hours and hundreds of courses for a low price down below. We have a monthly option and a yearly option. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the video.
Hi and hello everyone. Welcome back. This is your presenter and facilitator for this course on Introduction to Microsoft Power BI. We are in section 2, Getting Started in Power BI. And in this video, we are going to discuss how to install Microsoft Power BI. There are 3 different ways and get started with running Microsoft Power BI. I'll show you all 3 of them. So let's begin. The first method is just downloading the Microsoft Power BI from the Microsoft Power BI website. So we're going to search download Microsoft Power BI. Okay. So this is the first thing that we get. This is from Microsoft. We're going to click it. And here we get to the download center for Microsoft Power BI. These are the options available. If you want to change the language, you can change it. And then we're going to install downloading. We're going to select the relevant version, whether it's a 64-bit machine or 32-bit. This machine is 64-bit, so I'm going to select 64. And then next. I've already downloaded Microsoft Power BI. So I'm just going to show you like this. This will start the download. I'm just going to cancel it. Okay, and I'm going to show you. So this is how it looks like. So you can just double click this and this will install the application. I've already downloaded that. The second way is getting started with Microsoft Power BI from the Microsoft Store. You can go to the Microsoft Store. You can go to Microsoft Store from your start menu and select Microsoft Store. Then this type of screen will appear. And you're going to search for Microsoft Power BI Desktop. And this will appear. Since it is already installed, therefore it is showing installed. Otherwise, when you click it, it will take you to this screen where you can already where you can launch the application, or you can just install it. So let's retry installation and see details. Report this problem. There is some kind of problem. Otherwise, it is already installed in the machine. So I can just launch it directly. The third way around is from Microsoft Power BI service. So let's navigate to Microsoft Power BI service. So in order to navigate to Microsoft Power BI, we're going to type Microsoft Power BI service. From there, you're going to select powerbi.microsoft.com. We're going to click that, and we're going to launch Power BI service. In this way, maybe in the process you are asked to sign into your account. You can use your organizational or your institutional account, and you can log in there, and then you can navigate to this page. But if you do not have an organizational account, or you don't have option to navigate to this page, you can use the other 2 methods, that is from Microsoft Store or from the download center from Microsoft. In Power BI service, there will be 3 dots available. Once you select that, they will have the third option would be download, and you can select Power BI Desktop from the download section. There are other options as well, like data gateway, paginated report builder, Power BI for mobile, and analyze and Excel updates. So you can download Power BI Desktop from there as well. I hope after downloading and installing Power BI, you would be ready to use it for analyzing and visualizing data. And once you have already installed that, you will have option to run .pbix files. Okay, so I hope you enjoyed it. In our upcoming videos, we're going to discuss data model and other relevant topics related to Microsoft Power BI desktop. Thank you. Hi and hello everyone. This is your presenter and facilitator Kumail Radha for this course on Introduction to Microsoft Power BI. This is your second section in which we are discussing getting started in Power BI. In the first video, we discussed about how to install Power BI. In this video, we are going to discuss about data model. We are going to discuss about exploring the interface of the data model. Then we are going to learn about data modeling in Power BI. And in that, we are going to discuss data models, create and managing relationship between different tables within data model, and we are going to create table, we are going to create column, we are going to create measures, we are going to build relationships, we are going to use DEX to create aggregations, and then we are going to create a simple visualization. So let's begin. In Power BI, there are three tabs on the left hand side. The first one is the report tab, the second one is the data tab, and the third one is the model tab. The model tab displays all the data sources that are available in Power BI, and this is displayed in the form of tables. Now let's try to understand what is a data model. Data model is one of the features used to connect multiple data sources in Power BI using relationships. What are relationships? Relationship defines how data sources are connected with each other, and you can create interesting data visualization on multiple data sources. With the modeling feature that you have in Power BI, you can build custom calculations on the existing tables, and these columns can be directly presented into Power BI visualizations using this report tab. This allows businesses to create new metrics and to perform calculations for those metrics. In short, our data model is a collection of loaded tables. In this example, we have this sample table and this example call center data table. Relationships between the loaded tables. At the moment, it does not have any relationship built, but we can create relationships, and I'll show you how. And the measures written that apply the business rule to the raw data to extract business insights. For example, how many agents are there who answered the calls, or how many agents answered how many calls. So this could be one of the insights. So this is all part of data model. Now, let's explore the interface of the data model in Power BI. One of the greatest features here is manage relationships. These relationships exist between the two tables, or the number of tables available in the data source, or the number of tables that you have loaded in Microsoft Power BI. At the moment, it does not have any relationships between the tables. It allows 4 different functionality. The first one is the new, the second one is the auto detect, the third one is edit, and the fourth one is delete. Edit and delete are visible once there exists any relationship. So let's auto detect first. It could not detect any relationship, so we are going to create relationship manually. Here we have options to select 2 tables to which we are looking to create relationship. We can select first table, example, call center data, and second table is the sample that is automatically detected, and relationship between these two tables is also detected using the light gray color. You can see agents column is highlighted, and here also agents column is highlighted. So you can see it automatically detected relationship between these two columns, in between these two tables. Cardinality. What is cardinality? It shows what type of relationship exists between the two tables. For example, here you can see it had agents 1 in the first row, the second row agents 1, the third row agents 1. It means it has multiple data points for a single agent. But here in this table, it has just a single point for agent 1. And this is it automatically detected. It is creating many to one relationship, means there would be many rows for a single agent selected. So this is the relationship it already created. And when we try to change this cardinality to one, which is not actually the correct thing, because this table does not have one-to-one relationship, because this table has multiple data rows for single agent, and therefore this is not practically correct. So the Power BI does not allow us to select this relationship, and therefore opposite of many to one, that is one to many, it again did not allow us to create this relationship. So we have to use the right relationship to make it work. Then the filter direction. Filter direction identifies how you want to filter data. Is it going to be this table going to filter this table, or this table, that is the sample table, going to filter, example, call center data table? We have two options. One is the single and the other one is both. If it's single cross filter direction, it is going to create a relationship with filter direction moving from one to many. But if we select both, it will allow filter to work in both the direction. That means this data or this table or data points from this table can filter this sample table, or the sample data points from sample table can filter, example, call center data. And we want to make this relationship active or inactive. We have check marked it. By default it is check marked because we want, when we are creating relationships, we want to keep it active. And let's do this. Now this shows that there is one relationship between the two tables, and now the options for edit and delete are enabled that we can use. Let's close it and see. This is creating one-to-many relationship between the two tables. That means this table has one data point, or maybe multiple data point, but unique. And this table has multiple data points that are repetitive. And we have a cross filter direction that is with both option for filter. If you want to change it, we just right click, we just go to properties, and here we can change it to single. Now let's also uncheck this. Now see, there appears a dotted line that shows the relationship is not active. When the relationship is not active, we cannot directly use columns between these two to create calculated columns and measures, because this relationship is not active. In Power BI, when we use columns, when we use calculated columns, when we use measures, in order to work between the tables, we want the relationship to be active. When the relationship is inactive, we have to use additional DAX functions to make the Power BI realize that there is a relationship, but it is inactive. You have to activate the relationship and use it for the calculations to find out business insights. In our case, we want to use this, and we are going to activate the relationship. This is very handy, especially when we have multiple relationship between the two tables. So we can just create the relationship and keep only one relationship active while others inactive. And for the inactive relationships, we can just use it with additional DEX function to find business insights. Now let's move forward. Now let's calculate and measure data. We're going to first go to the data tab and see we have table tools selected by default. We have new measure, we have quick measure, we have new column, and we have new table with text expression option. So let's create a new table. We call this agents, and we want distinct agents to be one of the rows in that table. So let's create it. The syntax is, this is the distinct function. We have selected example call center data table, that is with single quotes, and then with this square bracket we have the column name selected, that is agents. So it is going to select all the agents, all the unique agents, and create a column in the table agents. Let's enter it. See, it created a new table named agents that has a single column with the name agents that shows unique agents, means list of all the distinct agents. Okay, now let's create a measure. Here I've already created a measure, so just let me delete that measure and recreate it for you. So let's create a measure. This is total calls answered equals to sum, and then we're going to select table, that is example call center data, and the column is answered. So you want this to be summed, and we want the sum to be by agent, like we are looking to get all the calls answered by agents. So let's just create it. You can see here the measure is not displayed as column unless we add the measure to a column. How we do it, I'll show you. Now we have created this. We go to agents table and create a new column, and we want this to be total calls by calls answered by agent. Okay, and we want this to be total calls answered. Okay, we selected that measure and put it into the column, and let's run it. Now this thing is 498 for all the agents. That is not going to be true, or this does not seems to be true. Let's go to the call center example call center data table, and here for agent 1 we can see the answered calls are these. For agent 2 the answered calls are these, but these some have to be different numbers, whereas we are just getting the same for all the agents. That means our data model is not properly set up. Now let's look at the data model. We can see here the agents table that we created does not have any relationship with the example call center data, and we need to create this relationship. We go to manage relationship and auto detect a relationship. It did not find any relationship. So we are going to create a new relationship. We're going to select the table. We're going to select the other table, and you can see it automatically detected the relationship that is with the column agents. That is many to one, many agents, data entry points for a single agent, and the cross filter direction is single. We just mark it OK, and there exists the other relationship. Now let's close this and see. Now it's working. There is another way of creating the relationship. Let's just delete it and create it again. I just take the agents table with click and then move it to the agents column in the other table, and the relationship is now created. Okay, and now let's go to the agents, and you can see here now the values are updated. See, that means our data model is properly set up. Now this shows the importance of data model within Microsoft Power BI, because if the relationships between the tables between different data sources are correctly created, it will be very easy to create business insights out of your data. And you have just seen this. Hi and hello everyone. Welcome back. This is your presenter and facilitator Kamal Lada for this course on Microsoft Power BI. In this section, we are going to cover Query Editor. We are going to explore the interface of Query Editor. We are going to connect to the data source using Query Editor. We are going to extract the data. We are going to transform it. We are going to perform steps, number of steps to transform the data and make it more usable. And then finally, we are going to load the data into Power BI desktop for visualization. And at that time, we are going to save that file. In Query Editor, there are a number of steps that you can perform. It is kind of like an intermediate data container where you can modify data by selecting rows and columns, splitting rows and columns, pivoting and unpivoting columns, and you can do a number of steps to transform the data and make it more usable within the Power BI desktop for visualization. There you can connect multiple data sources. For example, here we have just a single data source, that is example call center data. Now, in order to move to the query editor, there are a couple of ways we can use to move to query editor. One is just right clicking the data source and then selecting edit query. The other one is in the ribbon pane, you can select this transform data and then click this transform data button. Now this data button itself shows that the query editor is used to transform data, and it has multiple components within the query editor. Now let's explore that. Number one, this is the ribbon pane. It has all the options that you can use to transform the data. You can see a lot of them are active. This is the transform ribbon. This is add column, views, tools, and help. On the left hand side, it lists all the queries that we have used. For example, if you are looking to connect to another data source, we can just click new source, the type of the data source that we are connecting, selecting the data source, and then opening it. So it loads all the data into the query editor. I'm just canceling it now, and we're going to do this again later. This is the data view where the loaded query, where the data in the loaded query is shown. You can see all the data here. And on the right hand side, there is the query settings pane that shows properties and applied steps. One good thing about applied steps is whatever transformation you do, that is recorded in Microsoft Query Editor on the right hand side. So if you want to remove any step and you're looking to move back, you can just delete that step and it can be one step backward. So let's load the data for transformation. I'm selecting text CS3 because this is the data that I'm looking to load. Now the data is loaded. It has these options. It has already selected the file origin. The delimiter is comma. You can select others as well, but in my data source, this is comma separated value. So this is correctly selected. Now data type detection based on first 200 rows, based on entire data set, and do not detect any data type. But I'm good with first 200 rows. You can select other options as well. And then we can just click OK. Now let me just load this. Now the data is extracted. You can see here and it has automatically applied these steps. It has promoted the headers. If we select just the source, you see the headers are coming at the first row, but it automatically promoted the headers. And not only that, it changed the data type. Like here, this is time, and it changed into time data set. The agents are like numbers, so it has given this as numbers. The calls answered, abundant, ASA, LWC, GOS, like rate of service, average stock duration, total calls. So you can see the data type is already updated. Now let's do this once again with another option. I once again load this data set. And here you can see here extract table using examples. Now select this option. When you are looking to use this option, you can create here examples of how you want the data to be queried into Power Query Editor. Actually, there is a difference between load dataset and query dataset. At the moment, we are actually querying the dataset. The load dataset could be used in the next step. I'll show you. Let's do this. First, here I'm going to select. I just double click that. I'm going to select time and press enter, and again enter. So this has loaded all the entries for time. And then I'm going to load another. Here I'm going to select agents. So I'm just typing that. Now double clicking that and then enter. All the agents are loaded. Then you can load calls. Okay, third, abundant, and rest of the columns. So all the rest of the columns have been loaded here. I just select OK, and this will query the data into the query editor. You can see here now there are 3 queries, and here it listed all the steps that we performed. Besides that, it has automatically changed the type. Now you can see here it has not promoted the headers, and these rows are not separated. In the next upcoming video, we're going to do these transformations into the query data. The great thing is the original data set would remain unaffected. Whatever is happening, it is happening in Power Query editor, and we are performing these steps in the imported data. So the actual data or the original data remains unchanged. But in this query editor, we are making transformations in the data and it's saved in this Power BI desktop files. Hi and hello everyone. This is our third section in which we are exploring Power Query Editor. We've already extracted one dataset into Power Query Editor, and in this video we are going to extract another data source into Query Editor. We are going to do transformations including adding new columns, subtracting rows, other transformation related to rows and columns. We're going to split columns. We're going to change the data type and other transformation steps. And at the end, we're going to review all the steps that we performed in the applied steps part of query settings pane. So let's load another data set. We're going to select new source and we're going to select Excel workbook. We're going to select this performance table and we're going to load this into query editor. There are two tables in it. I'm going to select first table. This is the table that we are looking to load. Let's select it and press OK. Now the data table is extracted. The name is table 1 and it has changed the type as the last step. That means the data type is for the first one, that is any. This is a whole number. This is again any means this could be text or whole number. Therefore it is showing both ABC and 1 to 3. Now you can see here there are a lot of null values in it. A number of columns has null value. In order to remove this, we just unnecessary rows and unnecessary columns. First of all, we just remove the rows, first two rows, because these are not required. Our headings are starting from February. So remove rows, remove top rows, and how many rows we are looking to remove? First and second. So let's remove 2 rows. So now the first two rows are deleted. Now we are looking to make this first row as header because that has the month name in the first row. So let's do it. Use first row as header. Now the first row has become header. Now there are a lot of rows that has null value, like this row and this row. These are alternate rows. So we can remove the alternate rows by selecting reduce rows, remove rows. We can remove using alternate rows. So let's using row number, first row to remove, that is going to be row number 2. Number of rows to remove, we are looking to remove 2 rows. And number of rows to keep, we are looking to keep 3 rows, first, second, and this is the third row. So let's see, 3. Okay, so it did not perform as we expected, so let's just remove this step and we are back to the original step where we started this. So let's remove it remove alternate rows. We can also use remove blank rows to remove this. So we can just, okay, now it just removed all the blank rows. Check. Okay, but if we are looking at, there is another way of removing rows. For example, this null value is only in this column, in this row, but not in other rows. We can just select this column and here we have option to keep duplicate, keep errors, remove duplicates, remove empty rows, remove errors, and replace errors. So again, it would use remove empty rows, and it did the same thing, right? So let's just remove. Okay, this has already been removed, so let's just unapply the filtered rows and remove blank rows like the normal option. Remove rows, remove blank rows. Okay, it has removed all the blank rows. Now let's remove columns. There are so many columns that does not have value, so we're going to move towards manage column, and we're going to choose columns that we need to remove. Okay, so we're going to choose columns to keep. So we are going to keep the monthly columns and going to remove all other columns. And this will remove all the columns except the monthly column. And this column is also not required, so we just select this column and we go to manage column and remove column. So this column is also removed. Now you can see here all the steps that we applied is listed here. From the source, where we defined the source of the data, to the navigation, we just selected one table. We did not load both the tables, so it was just one table selected, and then we changed the type of all the columns that were loaded. Some of them were any, so this is actually any because it has both the numeric and textual values. We can now convert them to, now it is already converted to fixed decimal number for all the columns. So this is important, and this is the textual value. If you're going to rearrange the columns, we can just drag and drop the columns and this will rearrange it. Okay, now going back to the earlier data set we loaded, here the fourth column has all the values, and we are looking to split this column. So let's just use split option by delimiter, and it's already comma selected, so I'm just going to press OK, and now it has splitted the columns. And now this has automatically applied change type, but I'm going to keep that as it is because I just want to first promote headers. So let's just do it, and the headers are promoted. Now you can see here the data type is time. For this, that's perfect. For this agent, it is whole number. I want to make this textual because agent is categorical. Now I can do this replace current step. It will not change data type for any other columns except this one. So it will keep the data type of other columns as it is and will only replace the data type of this from whole number to textual. So I just use replace current. Okay. Now let's check other data type calls answer dependent. ASA is average speed of answer. LWC, I don't want this column, so just select this and manage and remove column. That column is gone. GOS means grade of service. Average stock duration. Now this is a duration, this is not time, but here it is showing as time. Duration has a symbol like this with a small header on the top, just like an alarm has a small button at the top. Duration also has, so you have to be very careful, like when there is a duration, it has to be duration data type selected, not time. So I just press this. Now it is creating error. Why? Because the data type was changed to time, and that had a time format in it with AM and PM, and that is causing it to think that it is an error by the user. Therefore, I'm going to remove this step. In fact, I'll go to the earlier step. Here I'm going to here I'm going to actually change this into duration. Insert an additional step, but replace current. Now it has changed this into duration, and it did not create any error. For others as well, whenever there is a duration, it should be, now this is total LWC. I don't want this. I'll remove it. So let's remove it and remove column, insert. Okay, so that column is removed. Okay, this is also duration and it is showing up as, so I'm going to move towards the previous step, and I'm going to change this into duration instead of time, and this should ask for insertion of a new step and replacing the current. I'm going to choose replace current, and this is it. And you can see. Okay, in all the columns you must have noticed these bars and the textual like valid, error, and empty. Now this is profiling. We call this in Power BI column profiling. When we select or just hover our mouse to this column profiling, it shows valid, error, and empty. Also distinct and unique values. So within a glance, I get an idea of what type of values are there in that column. Do you know what does a distinct and unique mean? Or they are similar? No, actually they are not similar. Distinct may have a lot of values that are repetitive but only counted once, but unique values are those values that do not repeat at all in the column. So only 2 values are unique in this column, while other 10 values were repeating itself. So this is the difference between distinct and unique. When I select any column, it is also going to show me column statistics. The count, error, empty, distinct, and unique with minimum and maximum. The minimum is 6 and maximum is 7. And this is the value distribution. Each column, each value is just once, like the frequency of each value is just once. But when we select agent, you can see agent 12 has maximum repetition, that is 10 times. And agent 6 and 8 are just once. and these two are the unique values. Minimum value is 1, maximum is 9, and unique values are 2, empty strings are 0, distinct are 12, and so on and so forth. So here we get the column statistics with value distribution, and this is so powerful and so easy. In the Power Query editor, when you extract the table, and you get an idea of what's within the table and how values are distributed, what kind of data is there in that. The next thing, let's move towards transformation tab. Here let's select any. Okay, we move towards the last tab, and let's select actually average talk duration. Here you can see, so it has minutes and second. What if we are looking to convert and get total seconds from the average talk duration? We can easily get it. Just look in the transform tab, in fact add column. Here you can select the duration, and there you have the option to get total seconds. So when I click it, after total average talk duration, I get the total seconds, like all the minutes and seconds are converted to seconds. And if I'm looking to convert everything into minute, I can still do that within the duration part. I have to select that column, go there and select total minutes, and it will show up total minutes. But what if I just want to extract seconds part of it? So I can go there, select a total average talk duration, and instead of total seconds, I just select seconds. So that means only 19 seconds. I just reorder the columns to easily compare, as you can see here. And similarly, you can get minutes or anything else. If you're looking to change the value, instead of adding a column, you're looking to just change this value to seconds, you can still do that. You can go there, instead of add column, now you are into transform ribbon, and there you can just select seconds, and it will change this column into seconds. So instead of adding a new column, it will just change this into seconds, but I'm not doing it because I want it as it is. Okay. Now let's review the steps that we performed. In Power Query, all the steps are there listed, and we can also see the M code part of it. You can just select the step, and from the top of where the data is displayed, it shows the code. You can also see the code from data source settings. Here you can see where the data is loaded from, and in fact advanced editor. When you go into advanced editor, there all the steps that you performed are listed with the coding part. You first load the data. This is the code it automatically wrote while you were performing the steps. And then you split the column by delimiter, and the delimiter was the comma. You divided the CSV file into two columns. Then again you performed splitting of columns. Then the third time you performed splitting of columns, and then the fourth time you performed the splitting of columns. And every time it created a new column based on the delimiter that you provided, and all the time you provided a comma. Then you change the type. Power BI did it automatically. We just checked it, and where we found that there was an error, like there was an error in time and duration. A lot of time Power BI considered that at the time, but it was a duration, so we changed back it to duration, and this was very important, otherwise our calculations or our analytics would have been wrong. Then we reordered the columns, we removed the columns, we added another column for total seconds, total minutes, and we also added another column for seconds part of the total average talk duration. And then we reordered the columns. All the steps are there. So if you are looking to see the code or make modifications in the code, you can do this from here as well. Like if I just you can see the difference. When we are looking for total seconds, it is used duration dot total seconds, and then the column name, and the type is number. But when we are looking for just seconds part of the duration, it has used, instead of total seconds, it has used seconds. So duration dot seconds. Here you can actually make it total seconds as well, and it will change. So I'm not changing it now, but you can do this and test it and get back to me if you have any queries. Okay, so let's cancel this at the moment, and I'm just going to discard the steps or any changes that I made in this advanced query editor. And in this table 1, which steps we performed, again the same thing. We go to the source. Here the source was there. We go to advanced editor and we can see all the steps that we performed. Now there is another option. You can also look at these small wheel that shows the UI of what the actual step that you performed in that specific step. Like in this step we performed, we removed the column by just choosing the columns that we wanted and removing the other columns. We did this. In this step we promoted the headers. In this step we selected the source. We can change the source and we can open the file type as a different file type. So this is it. Now another thing, for example, I am not looking to load this table, and because I'm still working on it and I still have few other transformations to be made out of it, and so I just want to load other tables and accept this one. I can just select it, enable load, I just unmark it, and you can see it has been italicized while others are not. And when I right click on it, you can see this enable load is not marked, whereas in other cases the enable load is marked. That means this table is not going to be loaded into Power BI desktop when I close this query editor. Just check it. So let's close and apply, and here it is. You can see two of the data tables that we did or that we transformed have loaded, and the other one is the table 1 that we transformed and loaded. This one and these one, they were created using DAX. So we're going to discuss this. We'd already discussed this in the last video, but we're going to discuss this in a bit more detail in the upcoming videos. But you can see here the third example call center data table was not loaded, and this was the thing I was talking about. I hope you have got the understanding of Power Query Editor and number of features and functions that are available in Power Query Editor, and you've got an idea of how to start working and using Power Query Editor. May you have any queries, feel free to get in touch. Thank you.
Hey everyone, thanks for watching this course. If you want to watch the rest of the course, the link is down below. Not only do we get the access to this course, but you'll get access to a lot of other courses in a huge bundle. And it's on sale today. So buy before the sale ends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in another video.